Hey, good Friday morning to you, TopFanRivalry followers. Bill and Jackson. It's Friday, so it's a weekly review. Jackson, let's get it done. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing great. Let's make it happen. There's a bunch to talk about. There will be no speculation on this show. We are not going to talk about Shohei. Who cares? Shohei is Shohei. He's going to go where he's going to go. So, Jackson, what do you got on your mind? What's your number one?
I'll start with Shohei's team. How about those Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of California uh, sweeping the Yankees earlier this week?
Yep.
And with that win entering play on Friday, they will be about 4.5 games back of the wild card. What do you think, Bill? Do you think they can make it? Do you think they could stay in the race long enough for Mike Trout to get back? No, still no.
I don't. I don't. I think the Angels goose is cooked. Um, I I think at the trade deadline you're going to see a bunch of things happen that may or may not be Shohei related, but it's yeah. I think the Angels are far enough back where we're not going to see. I'm just looking
Four and a half
looking up
games
right
is
now.
far enough back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because
Is the Yankees goose cooked though?
no, no,
Why not the Yankees?
nor is Boston. Um, because so the Yankees still win games because people are afraid of the name on the front of the jersey.
Bill, they're in last place.
Okay, you're right. They're in last place. Let's look at that for a second, Jackson. They're in last place with a record of 3 games under 500, with a plus minus differential of +8. They're 2-8 in their last 10. If they were 5-5 in their last 10, they would be in third place. If they were 8-2 in their last 10, they'd be in I'm sorry, fourth place. If they were 8-2 in their last 10, they would be in third place.
You could say the same thing about the Angels. They could jump up to third place if they were 8-2 in their last 10.
No, they couldn't.
They'd
They'd
be right.
still
They'd be right there.
they'd be close, but I think they're goose is good. The Angels are angeling just like they did last year. It's sad, but it's true.
I disagree with that. The Angels coming off the sweep of the Yankees, I think you'll see some swagger hitting into the trade deadline. I think they're going to buy. They play Pittsburgh, then Detroit, and then they got a tough series against Toronto, but Toronto is in front of them, and then they have to play Atlanta, which kind of stinks. But then they got Seattle, San Francisco, Houston. It's a tough August, but I think if they make the right moves, they could be in it. Got
Okay.
to play the games.
We got a cockeyed optimist here in the house, folks. But I see what you're saying, Jackson. But I'll raise you a few concepts here. One, when is Mike Trout coming back? Two, will Shohei still be on the team at that point? Three, can the Angels put together enough series wins to make a difference? Like you said, they got a really tough August.
If they don't trade Otani and they get Mike Trout back at the beginning of August, they have a shot.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There is a chance. Just got to get it.
So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. But what do I know, right? That's a good number one. That's a good one starting out the gate. I like that. I like that.
All right, who you got?
Number one, I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay in the American League West. How about the only team that has not lost since the All-Star break? The Texas Rangers of Arlington, since we're going to do Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They are 7-3 in their last 10. They are 19 games above 500. Now they have a 6-game winning streak that'll stop this weekend because today, tomorrow, and Saturday they play the Dodgers, so that'll stop. But then they play Houston for 3 in Houston, and then they play San Diego, who's relatively hot. But then they get the White Sox, Miami, Oakland. Excuse me. I like what they got going on. I like what they got going on. Can the Rangers hold on? I'm going to say they're going to win it. They got a good shot to still win that division.
You think so? With Houston getting healthy, you think they have enough pitching to hold on?
I said they could. I didn't say that they would.
Okay.
I didn't
Yeah,
say that
my
they would.
Texas has been really good this year. Obviously, when your lineup scores like 7 runs a game, it's pretty helpful. The question is going to be, can the bats stay hot long enough for the pitching to get right?
Plus minus 166. Just want to get that on record.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the plus minus because if you win the game by 1 run, it counts all the same.
Plus minus 166. Plus minus for the Braves 145. You're just mad that the Braves don't have better plus minus than the
I could
Rangers.
care less as long as they win the games. It could be by 1 run. It could be by 10. The 10 run wins are definitely a lot less stressful, but it counts all the same.
Yep.
All right.
We always do this, and I always start yawning. I have these yawning attacks when I'm with you. Okay, so what do you got for number 2?
Number 2.
Mhm.
How about right now the winner or the leader on percentage points in the American League East? I mean, entering Thursday night. We are recording this Friday morning. Entering Thursday night, Tampa Bay and Baltimore starting probably their biggest series of the year, tied atop the AL East. Bill, do you think Baltimore will overrun Tampa Bay and not look back?
You're asking me for a prediction?
Yeah,
You're asking me for a prediction? Are you ready for this?
I am.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yes. Now, why would you say yes? I'll tell you why I'm going to say yes, but why would you say yes?
I think Baltimore, with the way their team is constructed and the young team that has that fire, wants it more than Tampa Bay. That's what it kind of feels like to me. They're hot and they feel like they want it more. And I think at the trade deadline, they're going to get real fancy with a big pitching acquisition to kind of spark them some more.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to say these names and tell me what they all have in common. Okay. Jorge Posada, Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, um, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettit. What do they all have in common?
I mean, they all played for the Yankees. Nice. They all came up around the same time as well.
So you just said that last part. They all came up. So they came up in the system together. That's why Baltimore's winning. They're bringing guys up from their system that have played in Double A and Triple A together. Now they're doing it in the show. It's no different. And what did the New York Yankees do over a 10-year span, but win 5 World Series? Is it possible for or 4 World Series? I'm sorry. Is it possible for Baltimore to do the same thing? They play in a very tough division, but absolutely.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I think they have the general manager's dream, the young core, and the prospect capital to kind of just go for it.
Yeah.
And they have a good GM too, so it'll be
Yep.
interesting to see what Baltimore does approaching the trade deadline. I definitely think they'll be one of the more aggressive teams.
So my number 2 is kind of similar to what you're saying about Baltimore, but it's the flip side of the coin. It's who's fallen off. There are 2 teams in particular that I've seen really just kind of take a nosedive, and that is Pittsburgh, and that is Miami. Both started off really hot this season. Now Pittsburgh's in last place behind St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis for a while, at one point, less than a month ago, St. Louis was the worst team in baseball. They're not the worst team in baseball anymore. So it proves to you that the dog days of summer are dog, and they are their days for sure. And so I pay attention to those 2 teams. Now, I didn't say that they were the 2 teams that are underproducing the most. I'm saying that they started off hot and they've really slowed it down.
Yeah, Miami, entering play on Friday, 6-game losing streak. I mean, I think the big advantage for them is Philadelphia, who was right behind them, hasn't really capitalized. They pulled even, but they haven't pulled ahead. So I know I mean, they're ahead by 0.01 winning percentage points. It's like,
What you talking about, Willis?
I mean, Philadelphia has the tiebreaker. They're like right there. They not any games back. Philadelphia's ahead on the tiebreaker currently.
Yes, sir, they are.
So I think, Miami's definitely not dead in the water, but they really need to turn it around because Cincinnati's there. I mean, like you said, San Diego's been playing better as of late. So, 6.5 back isn't something to scoff at, especially with a team like San Diego. They got the star power. They have good players. So they do have good players. You can boo them all you want. They still have good players. They're underperforming, but they're still. But Miami really, I think they need a bat at the trade deadline, and I think that'll fix a lot of their issues.
Yeah.
You got to score to win.
You got what?
Got to score to win. I
Interesting.
know.
Thanks for telling me that.
Insightful take from Jackson.
Yeah, hot take, hot take.
Top fan stats guy. That's why they call me that. Like,
Okay. We don't give him the title for nothing, people. Listen to what he just said. All right, what's your number 3?
my number 3. I mean, I'll go to another team that's pretty hot. I mean, they just lost a couple to Cincinnati. Maybe that you won't think it's hot, but the San Francisco Giants have come out of nowhere
Yes.
after
Yes.
an abysmal first month and a half. They are currently a game and a half up in the wild card, and they are 1 game back. What are they, like 1 game, 2 games back at the Dodgers, something like that? 2 games. Yeah, they're starting to creep. So they've certainly made the National League West race a lot more interesting. I'd like to go on record saying I picked the Giants as a wild card team in the preseason predictions.
Okay, but all I have to say is you weren't doing any favors in the National League West this week with your boys, giving up two touchdowns and a couple of 2-point conversions in one game.
I think it was the Braves were just playing the Dodgers. They were trying to get Arizona back in the first place. We got a couple games to play.
Not awesome. Yeah, San
Yeah.
Francisco Giants. San Francisco Giants look good, and they're playing a lot better. They will be interesting buyers at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
They are a good place for an unknown person that we will not mention, a Japanese player, because he'll never sign there long term. But as a rental, it might not be a bad thing for him.
Yeah. I kind of like San Francisco's brought up a couple key prospects too, and they have kind of a young core kind of forming after the old guards left. So I wouldn't be surprised if, they do pursue a highly coveted guy who I hear might be pretty good, but we're not talking about him today. So we'll just move on to Bill's number 3.
Okay. Bill's number 3. So there's so many places that I can take this, but we have talked about this Japanese player. So I'm going to ask this question. And I want to separate out the fandom of baseball, and I want to separate out the business of baseball. Jackson, you've got to help me on this. Is the Trout Otani experiment over? Meaning, do the Angels look to trade Shohei Otani and get whatever you can get for him, rebuild there, and at the end of the season, trade Trout someplace where somebody will eat his contract, rebuild there? Or is it more important that you keep the star power there to draw the fans? My argument would be you're going to draw the fans if you're winning or if you have the star power. But Jackson, what do you think? This is a tough one.
I don't think they're going to trade away Mike Trout. I'll just put that there. I don't think Trout's era is over at all. I don't even think they'll trade Shohei Otani. Like I said, I think they're close enough to a wild card spot, especially their next 2 series will be kind of like the deal breakers. If they win 4 out of 6, 5 out of 6, if they win 6 in a row, maybe, they might get really bold, but I think this is going to really determine, the future of a couple of teams. There's going to be a lot of suitors for a Shohei Otani, but I think the Angels still have a high possibility of holding on to him with the hope of re-signing him. Because hear me out on this, because everyone says get a haul for Otani, but like you said, he is still just a rental. And why would a team looking for a rental overpay when you can just wait 4 more months?
So Trout has played with the Angels. Now this is his 11th or his 13th season. Okay. I'm going to read to you the number of games that he's played. Okay. 40, 139, 157, 157, 159, 159. Now, those are all good numbers, right? The 41 was when he first came up. The 157 and 159, back-to-back years, 157, back-to-back years, 162. I'm sorry, 159. That takes you through 2016. Then 114, 130, 134, 53, which that was the COVID year. 36 last year, 119 games. I'm sorry, 36 in 2021, 119 games last year, 81 games so far this year. And the Angels have played, what, 95? So, how much more do you hold on to him? Is that experiment over? Now, and if the Angels are asking, Angel fans are asking, you still have him signed for 7 more seasons at $35,116,667 each of those years. Is it worth it?
Well, who takes it? Who takes that contract?
Philadelphia, maybe.
Philadelphia?
Maybe get
Okay.
rid of Duck Dynasty.
I think that puts Philadelphia over the luxury tax, which is something that the new management doesn't want to do. I think a lot of owners are very weary of the luxury tax, unless your name is Steve Cohen. But he might have changed his mind after this year. So,
What about the New York Metropolitans? What about the Bronx Bombers? What about the Houston Astros? I mean, there's plenty of teams that will pay.
I don't think if he gets traded, it's not to the Astros. I'll tell you.
What about Chop On? What about Braves
Atlanta
Country?
doesn't have the farm system, unfortunately.
I mean, can you imagine having Michael Harris the third, Mike Trout, and Ronald Acuna in the outfield?
Yes. That'd be pretty sweet, Bill. But the Braves do still have to re-sign Acuna. You got to pay the other players.
I just think it's over. I think the experiment's over. It's crazy to think that, though, but I think it's over. What do we know, though, right? I mean, Artie hasn't called me. Well, he called me a couple of days ago. I sent him a voicemail. Mike hasn't called me in, I don't know, 2, 3 days. I keep sending him to voicemail. I just don't have time, Jackson.
I was gonna say, I don't talk to Artie anymore since I blocked him after he said he wasn't selling the team. So,
well, listen, Jackson, I'm having too much fun running TopFanRivalry. I don't have time to talk to Artie and Mike. Let them deal with their stuff. I'm gonna keep doing this stuff with you.
sounds good to me.
There you go. Well, TopFanRivalry followers, we got our 3 in for you today. I'm curious to see what you guys think of the Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani scenario. And maybe Jackson and I will do an individual podcast just on this and making some arguments. So Jackson, would you be up for that?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll book that for next week.
All right. Sounds good to me. Trade deadline special. It's looming.
Deadline special.
Remember, folks, it is August 1st this year. It used to be July 31st, but they changed it to August 1st because they like to mess with us.
All 24 hours, Jackson.
I know, awesome. But all the old baseball heads are just like, yeah, July 31st right now, August 1st now. So
awesome. All right, TopFanRivalry followers, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy this. Make sure that you like this video. Make sure you're following TopFanRivalry on Instagram, on Threads, on Twitter, on Facebook. And then if you go into the team store, what happens, Jackson?
You can check out all the sweet new merch. We got new t-shirts. We got the pre-order for the TopFanRivalry jerseys, which come in more colors than just red.
Yes. Yes, I've seen mock-ups of them recently. They're fantastic.
Yeah. So hop on, check it out. Anything in the team store you could buy, and you can get a 10% discount with code Jackson,
Jackson.
a
Yep.
code that you hear exclusively on the weekly review.
This is the only review. Jackson, let's do this again and let's do a trade deadline special.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Thanks so much, Jackson.
All right.